Coming up, City volunteers carry out disaster surveys in Tacloban and Omagh of the Philippines. We learn how a new form of renewable energy creates less carbon emission and is better for our environment. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Wendy Chen. Thank you for joining us. First up, in the Philippines, city volunteers are currently working in 2 teams to carry out disaster surveys in the cities of Omagh and Tacloban of Leyte Province. In Omagh, city volunteers are searching urgently for a suitable location to hold free clinics and aid distributions, while their counterparts in Tacloban introduced city's relief work program, slated to begin on November 20th to communities along the seashore. As city volunteers arrive at this elementary school in Omagh City of Leyte Province, they discuss the possibility of holding an aid distribution here.
If we are to use this site, we will have to recycle the necessary items and get the technician to wear these metals or get rid of them.
Apart from the metal frames that will need to be removed, there are many areas of the school grounds that will need to be cleared for safety and efficiency.
We saw with our own eyes the devastation caused by the typhoon. Some houses are without rooftops, other families have been relocated to temporary shelters.
More than 10 days have gone by since the typhoon, though the city seems to be in a better state compared to when volunteers last visited. The path to recovery will take time and the effort of many. On the other side of Leyte Province, another group of volunteers are in Tacloban City.
City volunteers arrived in this area of Tacloban City this afternoon. As you can see, the damage is severe with many houses flattened to the ground. However, with the good weather, some residents are gathering unwanted wooden materials to build a temporary home for themselves.
Seeing residents coming together to build temporary shelters, volunteers offer them their sincerest blessings. However, not every family is capable of rebuilding their home. Thus, many were grateful upon learning of city's relief work program, which will help residents get back on their feet at the same time as they clean up their homes and communities.
We will give them 400 pesos a day for cleaning their homes and communities. They were so happy to hear about the program.
With the approval of local residents, over 1,000 residents from 3 barangays will take part in the relief work program that begins on November 20th. The volunteers also continue to search for a suitable location to hold free clinics.
We are looking for a location that wasn't damaged, including hospitals, churches or schools, so we can plan future free clinics.
While city volunteers will confirm the free clinic location with local officials at a later date, they will first establish the relief work program to help speed up the recovery efforts. Since Typhoon Haiyan wreaked havoc in the Philippines, city volunteers and members of the public around the globe have been pouring out their love to help the disaster survivors. Next, we see how city volunteers in the Philippines, staff at the Indonesia DaAi TV, and students of the Newborn Tabot City Kindergarten in Malaysia are doing their part to help.
Following in the footsteps of city volunteers, former typhoon survivors from Marikina City take to the streets to canvass for donations for their fellow citizens. Seeing the volunteers walking the streets with donation boxes, numerous people stop to donate.
Although the amount is not much, it reflects the spirit of Tzu Chi's great love.
The event was joined by nearly 200 volunteers and raised some $10,000 in a day. Among the volunteers was Cai Bi-chin, who insisted on taking part despite suffering from cancer.
I felt so sad to see those people suffering. If it happened to us, how could we possibly cope? Although I'm ill, I want to do my best to help them.
At one of the many disaster areas, city volunteers witnessed the devastation left behind by the typhoon. Countless the survivors return to their now destroyed homes in desperate need of outside help.
We spent a night out here. We don't have any money, so there is nothing we can do.
The typhoon ruined everything, palm trees and farms.
In the wake of the tragedy, Tzu Chi volunteers are getting ready to help these survivors return their lives to normal. While in Indonesia, at a charity concert organized by Indonesia DaAi TV, participants seized the opportunity to contribute their love to the Haiyan typhoon survivors.
A week prior to the concert, Typhoon Haiyan hit the Philippines, leaving thousands of people dead and countless survivors in desperate need of assistance. Therefore, we decided to use the concert as a way to raise funds for those in need. All of the donations will be used to help rebuild their lives.
Thanks to the lively and passionate performance by the Macedonia Opera and Ballet House Orchestra, audience members were inspired to contribute their share to help.
As musicians, to perform in charity concerts, because that is very human, that is helping other people that need help, and as musicians it's our pleasure to perform for this concert.
Although I live in Germany, I will do my best to help the less fortunate whenever and wherever needed.
Indonesia DaAi TV also encouraged its staff members to contribute their love to help. Such kind gestures have moved local Filipino teacher Reyes Ruth Santos.
My co-Filipinos, I know we can do it. We can stand up and rise again. We can build another new place, and through the help of other countries.
And students of the Indonesia Tzu Chi school take advantage of their lunch break to canvass for donations.
The donations will be used to help the typhoon survivors in the Philippines so that they will have the strength to move on.
Meanwhile, in Malaysia, students and teachers of Limbong Tabo Tzu Chi Kindergarten joined in prayer for the typhoon survivors as they watch video footage of the devastation.
I think it's important to inspire students' hearts when they are young. These students' behavior is admirable. Despite their age, they are already able to empathize with those affected by the storm and are willing to take action to help them with financial aid.
Prior to the year-end vacations in Malaysia, teachers encouraged students to donate their adopted bamboo coin banks to the storm survivors to help them rebuild.
Their houses are all destroyed. I feel sorry for them. I want to donate my bamboo coin bank to them so that they can buy some daily necessities. I will pray for them.
Their houses collapsed, so they became homeless. They are so poor. This morning I took my bamboo coin bank and donated to Tzu Chi.
In the aftermath of the tragedy, the youngsters also contribute their share to help those affected by the destructive typhoon.
Also raising funds for the Philippines are Tzu Chi volunteers in Malaysia's Batu Pahat, who went to Tongkang Elementary School to canvass for donations. And we also join Tzu Chi volunteers as they visit the homes of their New Shoot Scholarship recipients. Let's take a look.
In Malaysia, Batu Pahat, each day Tzu Chi volunteers pray sincerely for the safety of those in the Philippines in the aftermath of Typhoon Haiyan. Taking action, Tzu Chi volunteers visited Tongkang Elementary School to canvass for donations for future relief efforts. If it is within our ability, then we must help. I want my students to have an opportunity to help others, as it's not enough just to be filial to parents. Doing charity work is also important. I'm very grateful Tzu Chi is here, guiding us along the path of compassion. In order not to disturb the ongoing graduation ceremony, volunteers stand quietly at the corner, one holding a donation box, the other a small poster. One by one, students and parents walk over to donate.
One person makes a small impact, but together we can make a big impact. And together our strength can assist the Philippines in rebuilding.
Those who donated felt the joy of charitable giving. Meanwhile, those canvassing on behalf of those in the Philippines relish in the Dharma joy of bringing hope to an otherwise chaotic time. Meanwhile, not forgetting to take care of their own citizens in need, Tzu Chi volunteers pay Nushu scholarship recipients a visit at home. In Batu Pahat, there are children who excel in school, yet due to their parents' financial difficulties, lack self-confidence. With Tzu Chi volunteers' love and care, both parents and children are finding shelter from economic storms. Some parents have even taken this affinity one step further and are starting to give back.
I'm taking this bamboo coin bank home so I can teach my children about helping others in need. No matter the amount, 20 cents or 50 cents, it's the thought that counts. They can donate their money back to Tzu Chi so as to help those less fortunate.
During the scholarship ceremony, Tzu Chi volunteers also remind those in the audience that safeguarding the planet is everyone's mission. In doing good deeds, it's not how much we give, but how much love we put into giving.
In light of the soaring oil prices around the globe, researchers worldwide have been working to develop alternate and renewable energy sources, and one such example is bioethanol. However, the production of bioethanol still emits a significant amount of CO2 and uses agricultural feedstock as raw material. Looking to solve the problem, Taiwan's Industrial Technology Research Institute has come up with a new technology that can produce a more efficient form of biofuel with less carbon emissions and less strain on the world's food supply.
It is currently harvest season and farmers are busy harvesting their crops.
Normally after harvest, to save time, farmers tend to set their fields on fire. However, in the future, this action will be illegal and is also very wasteful. Why? The wheat straws, corn stalks and bagasse can actually be turned into raw material for biodiesel fuel.
Currently, most of the biomass used to make biofuel comes from crops, and many have argued that this negatively impacts the global food market. Most importantly, using biomass is not as environmentally friendly as we think.
We want to reduce 43 billion tons of global CO2 emissions by 2050. Currently, renewable energy can reduce that by at least 26%. If we can reduce that number by 100%, we can definitely make a difference.
With this goal in mind, researchers at the ITRI decided to try to replace crops with agriculture and forestry byproducts as the raw material for biofuel. In the end, they were able to successfully convert 94% of the available carbon in such agriculture byproducts, an achievement that won the Institute the R&D 100 award. After nearly 2 years of research, this group of researchers found the perfect way to refine the traditional acetone-butanol ethanol process. The new technology will enable agriculture and forestry byproducts to go through the same decomposition process.
We can produce a lot more butanol with the same amount of raw materials. Butanol fuel is better for cars. Most importantly, we have refined the production process to a point where it now produces the industry's smallest possible carbon footprint.
With this new technology, 94% of the carbon in such raw materials can be converted into butanol. The new method not only decreases the amount of CO2 emissions, but also reduces the amount of raw materials needed. As butanol tolerates water better than ethanol, it is less likely to separate from fuel when blended with diesel or gasoline, and it is less corrosive than ethanol.
Currently, the amount of ethanol that can be added into fuel is less than 10%, unless it is a modified engine. On the other hand, the highest amount of butanol that can be added into fuel is about 16%, because it has a heating value that is closer to normal fuel.
In Taiwan, ethanol-infused gas is only available in 16 gas stations across the island, and percentage of ethanol in gas is only 3%. However, in the United States, the percentage of ethanol in gas is up to 10%, while 20% is mandatory in Brazil.
Do we have a sufficient amount of raw materials? We also need to ask what kind of changes we need to make in cars to fit this kind of renewable energy.
If the compatibility of butanol with conventional cars can be improved, then agriculture and forestry byproducts can become raw materials for biomass. As Taiwan relies on imports for 98% of its energy, this new technology can also help Taiwan become more energy independent, while also helping slow down the pace of global warming.
Among the participants of the second overseas volunteer training seminar were several local volunteers from Zimbabwe who prepared a little surprise for Master Zheng Yan, in which they put on a sign language performance of Vow to Action. But first we meet Cai Zongliang, who is the first Tzu Chi volunteer in Mexico, to see how he has been inspired to walk the Bodhisattva path.
Come break time, Cai Zongliang seizes the opportunity to finalize arrangements for the upcoming winter aid distribution in Mexico with his U.S. counterparts. Only recently established, the Mexico Tzu Chi branch holds monthly food distributions to help impoverished residents.
This meal is not a lot, it isn't expensive food, nor is it good food. It's just simple staple food, and yet you can see the longing in their eyes for that food.
As the first Tzu Chi seed in Mexico, the responsibility which lies on Cai's shoulders are many, yet Cai takes it on with a joyous heart as he works to cultivate fields of blessings in Mexico.
I tell them to finish eating first, then see the doctor, but they said they would rather skip their meal, but they cannot leave without having seen a doctor because some of them have been ill for a long time.
Tzu Chi volunteer Zheng Jinghua from France has held Tzu Chi close to her heart for the past 3 years. However, she has yet to actualize her commitment to Tzu Chi. This year, Zhen and her husband finally decided to get certified and take Tzu Chi's love and care back home.
Once you are a certified commissioner, many responsibilities lie on your shoulders. Although France is a very affluent country, we still have many elderly who live in poverty.
And Hong Jia-yi, who is currently working in Los Angeles of the United States, says she wants to lead a life with a purpose.
We are often told to practice understanding and tolerance, but I haven't been doing that. I am only giving 50% of my efforts. I don't want that anymore.
Working as a team, Tzu Chi volunteers from Zimbabwe demonstrate their Tzu Chi spirit through action.
Go, go, go!
We practice it just for a month. I feel strong because it shows me that I need to go and do something there, so I must be strong. Yes, okay. Not weak.
Zimbabwe Tzu Chi volunteers flew halfway across the world to Taiwan to absorb more of Master Zheng Yan's Dharma and learn from their counterparts.
If I have something, no matter how big or small, I have to give someone so that it can help each other. If I don't have, I have to socialize with those who have got so that they can help me and I can go and help those who don't have, who are in need of help.
Haiti Tzu Chi volunteer Daniel works to overcome the language barriers by learning Chinese. A short sentence sums up his sense of mission and hope. At the conclusion of the 4-day training seminar, volunteers are all spiritually recharged and ready to continue Tzu Chi's missions once back home.
Southern Africa Tsuji volunteers, despite living in poverty themselves, nevertheless remain devoted to Tsuji's charity work. Moved by their unwavering determination, staff members of the Tsuji Foundation presented hand-sewn bags to the volunteers during their trip back to Taiwan. As well, the volunteers also seized the opportunity to visit a nursing home in Hualien, bringing much warmth and laughter to the seniors there.
A cheerful atmosphere fills the air at the East Home of Senior Citizens. Southern Africa Tsuji volunteers are seizing the opportunity while in Taiwan to visit and care for senior residents, and their sincere interaction has brought many hearts closer. Despite the language differences, however, there are no barriers, as volunteers patiently comfort the seniors and express their well wishes through song.
I'm saddened to see that there are so many people suffering in the world, but I believe if the spirit of great love which Master Zhen Yan taught us can be spread throughout the world, it can make a difference.
The Tsuji Foundation staff gifted the volunteers with hand-sewn bags, which are symbolic of the passing down of the Tsuji Dharma lineage for generations to come.
There are limited resources in Africa, so they need our support to cultivate this huge field of blessings. As a symbol of our support, we hope our hand-sewn bags will encourage them to inspire more compassionate hearts.
Tsuji Elementary School students also presented stationery which they gathered for the volunteers to take back home. Motivated by the love they experienced in Taiwan, these African volunteers promised to continue reaching out to those living on the brink of poverty.
In our next report, we meet 6th grader Huang Jingling, whose father is unable to work due to his heart condition. With her mother as the sole breadwinner at home, Huang has thoughtfully taken on the responsibility to look after her ailing father and younger siblings while still achieving good grades in school.
Washing her siblings' lunch boxes as soon as she arrives at home, this is 6th grader Huang Jingling.
We are poor and my parents have to work. That's why I need to help.
I'm always out of breath when I'm working, walking, or even going up the stairs. That's why I can't do manual labor.
Huang Jingling's father is drawing nears with angina. Thus, Huang's mother has become the sole breadwinner of their family. Knowing her family's situation, Jingling has taken on the responsibility of looking after her father and younger sisters at a young age.
My greatest fortunes are my 3 daughters.
When we were praying, she cried really hard and asked the Buddha to save my husband.
With her father's health condition under control and her mother currently enrolling in vocational training courses, Jingling sets a goal for herself.
10 years from now, I hope to enroll in a good university. I want to become an accountant and earn a lot of money to give my parents a better living environment.
We stay in Taiwan's Kaohsiung at the end of our show. Students of the Kaohsiung DaAi Kindergarten recently took to the streets to promote vegetarianism. Besides making posters themselves, the youngsters also made vegetarian passbooks, all of which helped them to successfully convince many from the general public to go meatless. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.